Kicking off with the final Friday in the month of July. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frontier Opening Bell. Of course, I am Boston Omofaye. Thank you very much. Just a quick run through Thursday's trading day. The Nigerian stock market continued for the second day in the negative 33 because of those declines in the big banks such as FBN Holdings, the parent company of First Bank. You've got Zenith Bank down on Thursday, as well as GTCO. So the market value fell by roughly 111 billion local currency. The BRVM is coasting ahead with big gains on Thursday, 0.40 on the composite. The shares of Société Générale was one of the big gainers on the Ivorian markets, which is French-speaking West African on Thursday. That was the Egyptian stock market finished the week. Of course, Thursday is the end of the week. Friday is the start of the weekend. The market resumes on Sunday, 0.33% in the red for the Egyptian stock market, main index CGX30. The NSE in Nairobi came back from its negative level to post a whopping 2.07% on Thursday, while the GSE up by roughly 1%, led mainly by industrials and financial services. The rand traded water slightly later yesterday after that initial rally that we saw on the US dollar. That's just a summary of your Pan-African equities trading day for Thursday. Zimbabwe finished Thursday slightly in the negative 30, just a few notches. Those massive declines beginning to taper off a little bit in trickles, as it were, as far as the numbers are concerned. Zimbabweans are dealing with the elections ongoing in the country. Let's get on to the East African market. Take a look at some of the biggest, big economic news making the headlines. Of course, earnings coming through this morning. We got a number of earnings from Nigeria, but let's touch on first with the East African Brewers reporting profit after tax, net profit of a negative 21%. Sales costs went up by 10.1%, and dividend was cut into half by 5.5 shillings. The company is reporting that its sales in Kenya, which is the home country, went down in the full year under review, and that's from one of the biggest brewers in the entire East Africa, listed on the Nairobi bourse and a few other exchanges within the region. Safaricom's got a bit of not so pleasant week with hackers coming through, with M-Pesa services taken offline because of the face-off between Sudan and Kenya, as it were, on the political and those civil war front. Then you've got M-Pesa unveiling a new rate-free, interest-rate-free M-Pesa loans. If you're taking about 100,000 shillings, that will be interest-free. As Safaricom is offering that on its platform to Kenyans. Somalia is getting about $684 million debt relief at the Russia-Africa Summit. The summit comes to a close later today. A whole lot of talk being made in Russia by the Afrexim Bank's chief, Professor Benedicto Rama, about a two-way investment traffic between Moscow and the African continent. He spoke so well yesterday at the opening of the two-day summit between Russia, hosted by President Vladimir Putin. Some of the Afrexim Bank chief speech touched on trade, investment in healthcare, as well as energy and all that. So let's go look at Tawaco, Madagascar. This is my 90% stake in Ubuntu. That will redraw the competition space within the telecommunications sector on the island of the Indian Ocean, that's Madagascar. And 6 states within the CEMAC region, which is the central French-speaking West Africa, that has about 9.0 trillion CFA franc debt on their primary markets as the end of June this year. Okay, let's touch on with West Africa, of course. Earnings coming through this morning. Seplat Energy, which is listed on both the Lagos and London stock exchanges, reporting strong earnings for the For the first half of the year, a cash dividend of 3 American cents will be paid. That's according to news from the company. It says its operating cash in bank was about $580 million US dollars, reporting a very sound revenue headline as well. Of course, because its output remains steady and oil prices also remain pretty good within the period under review. Heard a whole lot more from Seplat Energy in the days ahead. However, a few other Nigerian companies are turning in not so spectacular numbers, especially those in industrial manufacturing. Guinness Nigeria reporting a net negative earnings per share for its the period ended June. Unilever is also reporting a massive decline in billions of naira because of the exchange rate issue. The unification of exchange rate will lead to the devaluation of the currency, hurting industrial manufacturers in Nigeria in the second quarter. That's April to June. That was the FX unification thing was effected sometime in June. So the industrial manufacturers are reporting negative numbers, but oil companies such as Seplat, Total Energies are reporting solid numbers, and the banks are expected to do the same on the positive side. So the naira devaluation, as you saw, we talked about sent Airtel Africa into $170 million loss in its first quarter, 2023-2024. And Nigerians has been able to avoid a cliffhanger, but still climbing in terms of what it needs to do to get the fiscal and monetary space correctly, and that's according to the latest World Bank Nigeria report. A half-year report on country's macroeconomic situation was presented yesterday at the Lagos Business School, and you can watch that video on Frontier Africa Reports. It's there for you, as presented by the World Bank Nigeria's lead economist Alex Sinhart. You got Ghana oil revenue down to about $540 million in the first half of the year, January to June, according to the Bank of Ghana, while Gabon is floating a debt-for-nature swap to cut external debt by 266 billion CFA francs, something close to what Nigeria's former Vice President, Professor Amir Shimayo, talked about nature for debt. Using climate change issues, projects and all of that to cut debt for African countries. Gabon is flagging that off. Cameroon is posting about 70 billion CFA franc annual loss because of that Portugal's fraudulent cocoa exports to Nigeria. And that is a big story. You need to read that all up online. Not some pretty good news, by the way. Let's get into Southern Africa. We're expecting a couple of economic data later today, but we're going to get a whole lot more next week. South Africa's PPI fell sharply lower. That's the factory data, 4.8% for the month of June against 7.3% in May. Forecast was about 6.0%. South Africa did much better than that. The rand rallied early yesterday, but later gave us some of those gains, finishing slightly lower on the dollar around 17.47. The Bank of Mozambique, that's the central bank, held its policy rate unchanged early yesterday at 17.25. Mauritius Central Bank says it's buying foreign currencies locally to support the country's reserves, while we're seeing a huge influx of tourists from around the world, in particular Europe, flocking to the Indian Ocean island of Mauritius, again, because of the war in Ukraine, because of the heat wave that's currently going on, and a couple of other issues. Right now, Mauritius is reporting about 70% upside in its tourism revenue so far in the year. The initial forecast was a full year 20%, and it's already doing 70%. And that's a very good news for Mauritius. By the way, the Zambian kwacha is in volatility, and of course, the food prices also pushing the country's inflation to about 10.3% in July. Zimbabwe may abandon its FX auction system. That's according to one of the country's national dailies. And Sidco reporting full year 2033 revenue to 56% in the green. So when you look at the North Africa's corridor, and you take a few, a few headlines, Egyptian Exchange says it's going to suspend its EGX 50 EWI index effective from the 1st of August. That's part of its annual rebalancing of his portfolios, by the way. And Maroc Telecom Earnings, by the way, reporting first half of the year, profits surging $302 million US. STB Bank in Tunisia reporting first half this year, net banking income up $120 million US. We got a whole lot more earnings to report for you when we return on Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone, and bye for now.